Kendrick should remain quiet and avoid the game's bait.
The game lied to us, you guys. He lied and I believed it. And I should have known better, you guys. I should have known that a guy who's currently on the Mount Rushmore of rappers that lie would end up lying. Go figure. If you guys did not watch the last video, please make sure you guys go check it out. After fans claimed that Game was dissing Kendrick on his new album, the Game came out with a statement addressing it. He said, wait, you guys are reaching. But then he goes on to get very defensive, which had me a little bit suspicious. If you're trying to clear up rumors that you're not dissing somebody on your records, why are you then trying to send a message like you really want smoke? The Game also said in his response, it ain't a rapper in this soft-ass industry who wants smoke. Now, today, the Game did an interview with Shannon Sharpe. That's right, you guys. The Game sat down and he lied once again. Shannon Sharpe asked him, hey, buddy, do you think you're the best rapper in Compton? Game confidently says yes. As a matter of fact, I'm the best rapper on the West Coast. Here's what he said.
You still the best rapper from Compton?
I'm definitely the best rapper from Compton.
Definitely?
Definitely.
Who's the best rapper on the West Coast today?
Game.
Damn, that was quick.
Yeah, it ain't. Yeah, that's it.
Ain't nobody getting at you?
Can't nobody out-rap me, man. And anybody that knows will know. Because people can't, even if you are, like, no one can do what I can do. Like, no one has my skill set. Because not only do I have the ability to wrap circles around people, I'm also with all the bullshit, too, if it came down to that. You know, but right now, like, nah, it's not a rapper on the West that's better than me.
Now, immediately after this clip was released, fans told Game fuck out of here, and they all started spamming Kendrick Lamar's name. Because of course, when you think about Compton, right now, a lot of people just think about Kendrick. Obviously, you have Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, but as far as the active rapper right now that's really holding it down for Compton, it's Kendrick. The fans spammed up Kendrick Lamar's name on every clip, so much so that it got the Game pissed off. The man said enough is enough, let me finally address this. The Game is finally calling out Kendrick Lamar, you guys. He said fans got a lot to say about who I can and can't out-rap, but the niggas you're defending is quiet. Yikes. This man really wants Kendrick to respond to him. He really wants to go bar for bar with him. Now, there's so many things going through my head. First of all, why would you call him out after you claimed fans were reaching for saying that you were dissing him on your album? Second of all, why would you send him your album beforehand if you wanted smoke with him all along?
What's up, words? Your boy Challz Brown back again talking facts. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Keep sending those Cashaps to CLBMG. Join that membership. And all you buying that merch down below. Gang, listen. So it's not about being right. It's about being factual and being accurate when you jump into this hip-hop space and you tell these stories. And especially if you're going to speculate, you want to try to be right. You want to try to be correct. You want to try to be as to the best of your ability. You want to actually have your comments and your narrative and your commentary to be on point. So that's what I try to do every time I talk on these microphones and on these cameras and I do these stories and tell these tales. So in regards to the Game, I try not to approach videos that I don't have knowledge of the subject matter or the people I'm talking about to some degree. And to the point that I'm making with the Game, I know how the Game operates. I know the Game uses salt and he uses shade as a tactic to draw eyeballs and ears to pretty much display his level of shade and actual jealousy toward other rappers. The Game has done this with a lot of rappers, and I want to show another little clip. Salute to Rapaholics. The first clip I showed was from the homie Chick Smooth, but I also want to lay more foundation when we're talking about the Game and why I was so sure that the Game was throwing shade and throwing disses to Kendrick Lamar. Let me roll this other clip by Rapaholics, and we'll get right back to it.
Me and Game's mom, we started a male exotic club. Jayceon danced there maybe twice, and 50 Cent will not let him forget it.
He says a lot of people's names for shock value. He says things he doesn't mean. He says a lot of things and take it back. You know, he had issues with Joe Buttons, then he runs into him in a club and they're taking pictures. He had issues with Memphis Bleak, then he ran into Memphis Bleak. In Miami, it was no problem. See, I'm not a fake person. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. He has a lot of inconsistencies.
Eminem is the only rapper that nobody ever wants a problem with, including myself, man. Eminem is like the most lyrically insane. He's one of the good MCs. And I used to think Eminem was better than me. He's not.
If he were to come at you with like a industry beef, what would you have done?
Run. Eminem is cool. You don't understand. I'm a hip hop artist and I'm one of the biggest ones in the world. You don't want a beef with Eminem.
Sadida says that JT cries at the drop of a hat and is more smothering than a WWF death grip.
Blue Aubrey's and white ceilings, despite feeling the right feeling is to conceal white lies confined in the ceiling of a red Rolls, the once leader of the West Coast, who kinda claimed he met Pac at the height of death row, capped his way through court to almost be dead broke. The best vote for biggest BS or non-fact teller in the game. J.C. Taylor, there ain't a liar greater, so let me supply the flavor of this cap compilation. And while you're stationed watching and making observations, I hope that you're placing big ramifications on the like and subscribe buttons for my creative creation.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living. I study
Red rose, white ceiling.
So as you can see in that short clip, that the game has been telling a whole lot of tall tales ever since we first heard of the game. This is nothing new. I don't understand why a lot of my contemporaries and a lot of fans were reaching to give the game so much grace. They were so eager to say that the game wasn't dissing Kendrick, as if Kendrick, for one, is above being dissed, and for two, the game is above dissing him. We've seen the game diss Joe Budden. We've seen the game diss Jay-Z, diss Memphis Bleak, diss Eminem, diss Dr. Dre, diss 50 Cent, diss every single person that he's come across in this game, one way or another, that he's had a high regard for and tried to give them praise. And then he'll use the loophole of constructing, I want to say, witty rhymes and lyrical wordplay, using it as a bar. He's using that in a way to say, these are just bars, folks. Don't get your panties in a bunch. I'm just using witty wordplay. Right? Then the other thing that he'll lean on is the competition factor. We have this thing in rap that we always say. I say it all the time. What rapper doesn't believe he's the best? If you're a rapper that doesn't believe you're the best, then what good are you? You're not really that good of a rapper. We say that all the time with confidence. If a rapper says I'm the best, we're supposed to say that's what you should say, right? Now, the only caveat with that is when you're saying that you're the best, but then somebody else can't be better than you, and you particularly point and aim at that person in one way or another. Well, what Game is doing with this I'm the best on the West Coast, he's taking shots at Kendrick, and anyone can see that wants to. A lot of people like the game, so they don't want to see it. But I saw it. I want to read this, how it first started, right? Game came out with, he was coming out with this mixtape, Gangsta Grills. He was coming out and he was going to, 15 tracks, and it was going to revolutionize whatever he was trying to revolutionize, but he needed the spice. He needed the secret sauce. He already dissed everybody in the industry, so that wouldn't make no noise. He just dissed Eminem the last time he came out on Drillmatic. He dissed Eminem, a 10-minute diss record that most fans and rappers alike agreed that record for the most part was awful, right? Other than the Eminem record, the rest of the album was fine, but that record dissing Eminem was really a terrible way to try to get your buzz up. But he did it, and we all took a collective sigh, and we all agreed, like, this is just a game, nothing to see here. Game is once again trolling, and we're so I'm not gonna say desensitized to the game's trolling that it don't even work anymore. At this point, Game would have to literally, I'm just gonna be honest, either diss Drake or diss Kendrick. Those are the two hottest names in rap. So he would have to literally go in and diss both of them, one of them, or a combination of the two, right? Now, with that being said, Game really doesn't want to diss Drake. He doesn't want to diss Drake. At this point, you get no credit for dissing Drake. You're almost piling on at this point. He's not going to really respond with nothing worth responding about, and the people won't respect it. Not to mention the fact that Game has an affinity for Drake because Drake threw him a feature in his time of need, and he didn't charge the Game for the feature, and I believe he even showed up for the video. So Game is like a lot of other rappers, they're eternally grateful for these looks. A lot of those Atlanta rappers, almost all of them that Kendrick said, you run into Atlanta, almost all of them have in one way or another shown that they aren't following Kenny's lead and they wish they were left out of it because they want to stay in the good graces of Drake. So most of these rappers feel some sort of allegiance one way or another to Drake for one favor here or one favor there. Maybe he saw him in the strip club and he let him sit in his VIP, so they feel they owe him. I see a lot of these New York rappers, Wu-Tang included, Dipset included, a lot of these old heads, freaking these guys from over at, what's the name of that podcast that we're always talking about? Bag Fuel and things of that nature. A lot of these podcasts, a lot of these guys in New York, a lot of guys on the East Coast, Wallow, Gilly, all these guys, a lot of guys have this sort of love for Drake for some reason. So the game is the same way, and he won't diss the game. But, I'm sorry, he won't diss Drake. But what he will do is subliminally go after K-Dot because that's the low-hanging fruit. And let's just be honest, anybody saying anything about K-Dot right now is guaranteed front page news. So he playfully and slickly and kind of very, it was a very tongue-in-cheek, but he kind of played it where it was ambiguous. And we had a lot of people, smart people, good people that I respect. A lot of people kind of on the fence when he dropped these bars where he said, I'm the king of the West Coast. From the rooftop, I'll shout it. And the nigga you think is king ain't gonna do nothing about it. Right then and there, I didn't need no other lines. I didn't need no other dictation. I didn't need nothing. I didn't need to hear nothing else. The other stuff can be debatable. The other stuff is flimsy at best. The other stuff can be, it can go either way. But that one right there, there is no other way to take it. If we were in a battle and he said that, that would be 100% a gut punch. That would be, a dude would end the round on that. Like round 1, 2, or 3 could be ended on that same note because you know exactly what he's trying to say and you know exactly who he's talking to. So the debate about that actual line kind of perplexed him. It kind of perplexed me because I'm like, the only way you could say that that's not a diss to Kendrick is if you're in denial. Other than that, or you want to give Game way more credit than he deserves. And a lot of people they didn't want to say it. People were tiptoeing around it because they knew. Let me just be honest with you right here. Let me just be honest. And I saw this firsthand. A lot of guys don't want to say he's dissing because then they got to finish the conversation. Well, what should Kendrick do about it? And a lot of guys didn't want to be put in that situation to have to sit here and say Kendrick got a diss game back or whatever the case may be. They didn't want to put that on Kendrick's back. A lot of people want to just they want to just lay low. They want K-Dot to keep doing K-Dot. They do not want to fan these flames, right? They're still blaming the Vibe magazine and all these magazines for the East Coast, West Coast beef, which was going to happen one way or the other. Didn't matter what the magazine said, but they still blaming the source and all these people for the East Coast West beef that was going to happen regardless. Now, a lot of people didn't want to speak on them, but I did. I was very, very confident that this was 100% a strike at Kendrick, and it was just a test of waters, though. This was like bait. This was like when you throw chum in the water and the sharks come, right? You throw a little bit of fish in the water, bloody fish, and the sharks come running. It's bait. He wanted to bait Kendrick. I said in my last video, I said, Game cannot outright diss Kendrick and cause a whole friction on the West Coast because it's street politics involved. So he has to kind of bait Kendrick, kind of throw the little bait out there and see if Kendrick bite and say a line or two. Then he can go full on crash out because now he's defending himself. He wants to be a martyr. So at that point, if Kendrick does respond, here comes Game with 300 bars, all aimed at Kendrick. Because at the end of the day, ask yourself, why would Game be even focusing on Kendrick, even try to bait him out? Well, if you've been paying attention to the Game over these years, Game starts to get a little antsy when someone is deemed as more important than him or more relevant than him, especially off of that West Coast, right? He not only just disses people because they seem to be popping or they seem to be, he got to take them down a peg or like Nas said, the rules of the game is that to be the king, you got to take out the king. All of that is true. But at the end of the day, Game whole thing to most people and to myself, it feels like there's a little a twinge of jealousy when it comes to K-Dot and all this West Coast love. And you got to think for the last, especially the last 2 years, they've been saying that K-Dot is the only thing holding up the West Coast. He unified the coast. He had the pop out. He had both gangs on all the gangs on stage. He had this, that, and the third going and revitalize LA. You don't want to hear that when you're the game, and you know that back in the day you revitalized the West Coast when no one else could do it. You know that you did it, even though you had 50 Cent's help. You know you did it, and you know for years you've been repping the West Coast when the West Coast not gonna say fell off, but at the end of the day, when it wasn't as hype as it was at one point, right? When you were still repping the West Coast, you're not getting that credit anymore. You're getting passed over and looked past by a guy that you feel is like a little kid to you. That's almost your little baby bro. And I keep using the analogy. Oh, I told him how to use his jumper, right? I just saw a clip where Game is talking about he's the reason Kendrick called himself Kendrick, right? He said I told him that K-Dot ain't gonna work. You should use your real name. Right? Kendrick had already said why he started calling himself K-Dot. Had nothing to do with the game, but the game tried to tell us that it was him. Right? Then he tried to tell us, oh yeah, because he did go on tour with Game, but I believe that was under J-Rock. But he tried to tell us that he wanted to sign Kendrick and all this and that. So all these stories inserting himself in Kendrick's story and making himself way more important than he actually is for the situation. So when this thing dropped and everybody started speculating, people like myself, this, that, and the third, and homeboy from the West Coast came out saying he can't be dissing K-Dot because he turned the album in. He sent it to Top and Dot before he even put the album out. And my first knee-jerk reaction is like, so what? What does that mean? I sent the album. Them motherfuckers probably didn't even take the shrink wrap off. They probably didn't download the shit and listen to one fucking track. So I don't understand. Yo, he sent it to Top. He sent it to Dot before he put it out. So that can't be a diss. I didn't understand the logic. I'm like, what does that mean? We get albums all the time we don't listen to. What we talk about? Especially if you know Game Petty. Like if you looking at him as listen, if you looking at him the way I know that they looking at him because I'm looking at him the same way. If you're looking at him sideways, kind of like, man, he on some funny style stuff. He only sending the album just to say he did that. So when it come out, whatever fuck shit he's saying on here, he gonna say, I sent it to them already. They ain't say nothing about it. Well, they ain't listen to it. Let's be honest. They might didn't listen to it. Or they heard it and was like, we're not even getting involved. We're gonna ignore you, gang. We're gonna let you rock and do your thing. The people gonna tell you what it is. So the people been spamming Game and Game got mad. So let's have this conversation. Because Game went on Shannon Sharp, one of the messiest shows. I don't even understand. Listen, if you go on Shannon Sharp at this point, you are messy. You're going on Shannon Sharp to say some messy shit. Let's just be honest. Ain't nobody going on Sharp to really talk real hip-hop because Shannon don't know real hip-hop. Shannon gonna talk about old school shit. He asking the Game about Ice Cube, right? We all love Ice Cube, but why are we talking about Ice Cube? Ice Cube owns the Big 3 basketball league. He just put out an album. The album is nowhere on the level of what's going on right now. It's just an Ice Cube album. It ain't no I'm vying for the top dog spot. You supposed to be asking them about Kendrick Lamar, right? So you're going on Shannon Sharp just to be messy. Because you're not really getting real conversations out of that. He gonna ask you basic, surface level questions, and that's about it. But Game went on there and said he's the best in the West Coast. He's supposed to say that. I get that. He says he's the best in Compton. Well, you know what you're doing when you say that because everybody's gonna be like, the best in Compton? Well, ain't Dot from Compton, right? It's a whole lot of things Game said that he's supposed to say, but it's not that you're supposed to say them, it's how you say them, right? He just did a list a couple weeks ago where he put K-Dot one notch above him. Now he's saying nobody better than me on the West, nobody better than me in Compton. So we still getting the same flip-floppy game. If you're going to keep it a buck and say that he better than you on the list, you can't then go on Shannon Sharp show a few weeks later and be like, ain't nobody better than me. I'm better than everybody. This is the problem that I got with the Game, and this is how I knew that the Game was coming at him, because when the albums drop, Game flip-flops, and he turns into the guy that you always knew he was. When there's not no album coming out, then he's humble. Oh yeah, I would never disrespect Eminem. I would never come at K-Dot, this, that, and third. But then when it's album time, it's go time, then lyrics just start coming off that pen, and it's a whole different animal. Now he's a savage, right? Now he wants smoke with who wants smoke, right? So let me read this. So what happened when we started to speculate and figure out what was going on with these bars, because I said it early, and quite a few other contemporaries said that they believed it, but I still see, and I'm going to be honest, even the ones that said that they thought he was dissing, a lot of them did it very, very, they were intrepid about it. They were very like, you know what? I'm gonna kind of, I don't want to be too, he may be that. So there's a lot of guys kind of like tiptoeing around it and not wanting to say that it was him, but to me, it was definitely him. But there were a few that did. So Game responded with this statement, and I want to get to the other statement, but he said this first. He said, y'all reaching. If I got a problem with a ninja, you ain't gonna need to guess. Secondly, y'all weird ass Me Too fans ride anybody nuts. That's the internet tell y'all to. It ain't a rapper in the soft ass industry who wants smoke. Right there. This ain't to me, this made the situation worse. To me, this ain't no, I never this dot. Like what you're supposed to do if you're trying to convince us that none of this is about Dot, you don't come and say, if I got a problem with a ninja, you ain't gonna need to guess. We never said you had a problem with him. We said you dissed him. Just cause you dissed him don't mean you got a problem. You dissing him for eyes and ears and eyeballs, and even when Joey Badass took shots at him, he always said it's all love, it's competition. So nobody said you got a problem with him. So right there, that's the first red flag. We're not saying, yo, he got a problem with Dot. So you come out saying, I don't got no problem with him, right? Then secondly, you go, y'all weird-ass Me Too fans. Now you coming at the fans. Now the fans is the problem. When you got the bars talking about you're the king of the West, and if somebody that whoever you think is the king of the West, they ain't gonna do shit about it. You the one saying that, and other bars, right? You mimicked his voice. You did a lot of shit on that record to make it seem like you were coming at Kendrick. It ain't got to be an outright diss, but you did use his name for clout. Let's just be honest. So let's just call it what it is. So you came with y'all weird ass Me Too fans, whatever the fuck that supposed to mean. Well, you're Me Too fans, right? Y'all ride anybody nuts that the internet tell y'all to. So now we fans that riding the nuts because the internet says to do it. We don't have minds of our own. We just riding with the wave. Okay, say less. Then we're going to keep it pushing. He goes, I ain't a rapper. It ain't a rapper in this soft-ass industry who wants smoke. They know, and any fan who know my body of work, know. Merry Xmas, ho, ass niggas. So that was funny. I thought that was funny, the ho, ass niggas. But let's just stay on here. It ain't a rapper in this soft-ass industry who wants smoke. First of all, you the one dishing out the smoke. Kendrick haven't dissed you. We haven't heard anything could be in there about you, but we haven't found a line in there that he's directly coming for you for smoke. So the soft-ass industry part is the part that throws up more red flags and more antennas. It's like, what? So the whole industry soft? Well, don't that include K-Dot too? Low key, I mean, I'm just from the outside looking in. I'm trying to decide what you're trying to say, because you're basically saying the fans is Me Too, we soft, this, that, and the third. We like just anybody the internet say like. I guess that don't include you, right? And then you go and say ain't nobody in this industry want no smoke. So you're basically saying Dot don't want smoke. So you're basically saying if I did say it, nothing in here says that I didn't say it, right? You could say y'all reaching. It don't mean that we not right. Okay, he never said you weren't right. He never said I never dissed him. He said y'all reaching. Well, motherfuckers grab whatever they was reaching for because you came out the next fucking day bad as shit. Now let me get to that. So after everybody was reaching and a couple guys went on their shows and was like, oh, see, the game denies. The game says it was not. He didn't diss it. That's not what he said in this. I didn't read none of that in that. Game didn't deny shit if you ask me. So at the end of the day, they started saying Game denies it. Then homeboy from the West Coast said Game sent the album, so it couldn't have been. I'm like, none of this make no. This is not concrete evidence of the game of the Game's innocence, right? So after the Game goes on Shannon Sharp, the messiest show in show business, right? Start talking about he the best in the West Coast. He better than Ice Cube, better than Snoop Dogg. This, that, and the third, because he used their style and sharpened it up like steel, sharpened steel, all this shit, right? Which Game is a good rapper. I always say that Game would be one of the best rappers in history if it wasn't for all these antics since day effing one. Game has been overdoing it with these antics. So yes, Game can rap his ass off. I wouldn't want lyrical problem with Game any day. You know what I'm saying? But end of the day, I mean, I hold my fucking own, my nigga. Let's don't get it fucked up. But anyway, so Game goes on after that interview drops, right? Game goes into the comments of the Shannon Sharp interview to see all these people bombing Kendrick. Bombing Kendrick means bombing Kendrick, spamming Kendrick this, Kendrick that, da. What that does to a dude that's seeking clout, seeking attention, like Game, he already feel a way about Kendrick. What's he gonna do? It ain't gonna take many of them. It ain't gonna take much spamming to get him to get out of character and expose his true feelings. Well, once again, he tries to make another cryptic message. He goes in, and I believe he deleted this one, but he wrote it. So once you write it, click, they start screenshotting it, and this is what he wrote. And this one, to me, we can drop the mic. We can drop the speculation. All you dudes that was saying, oh, he wasn't coming at Kendrick, we can go ahead and wrap it up with a bow, right? Hand me the first place prize. And the people that's like me that believe that it was true, just hand us that prize, step out the way, let us go up to the podium and take our victory lap. Because right here, Game got in his feelings. He got insecure and started talking out the side of his neck. Let me read this. Quote, fans got a lot to say about who I can and can't out-rap, but the nigga that y'all defending is quiet. Okay, now I don't know if I got to continue to break down what he's saying. I'll do it. like homeboy said on The Matrix, right? He said, Roy Jones said, I'll do it regardless, right? I'll do it, but end of the day, I shouldn't have to. He said, y'all got a lot to say, so y'all doing all this yapping for a nigga that won't yap himself. His mouth closed. You doing all this defending for this guy, and he ain't said a word, right? Said a word about what? Right? What are we defending him from? What we talking about? So Game got to understand, right here, he just told himself. He said, you're defending the nigga that's still quiet. The nigga y'all defending is still quiet. You really saying if he was that king, if he was built like y'all making it, he would have already said something. This is 100% a challenge to this nigga's manhood. This is a dude in his feelings telling you, all that yapping, yeah, I hear you, but what your man say? You all in the comments defending a nigga that won't open his fucking mouth. If y'all need me to break it down even further, right? But I shouldn't have to. Basically, what he's saying is, I said what I said. And you guys are doing more yapping than the guy that I said it about. I'm not taking nothing back. Take it how you want. Game is looking for that little end where he can start this war because he's ready to be a martyr. I'm sure he's ready to crash out. He'll end it all and be a martyr and leave it like that. I keep telling y'all what's going on. So at this point, he's getting to a point where he's tired of hearing you fans lollygag and tell him he can't do this, he can't do that, and he won't open his mouth to the real king, which is Kendrick. He's like, man, look, I little bro that little nigga. You gotta realize what you're dealing with, gang. This guy he not looking at it the way you are. You got all this respect and empathy and this, that, and the third, and love for K-Dot. His is ran thin. He's getting to a point where he's tired of hearing about it. He's a MC's MC, and he's like, yo, you keep telling me that I don't run the West Coast because of who? At some point, it's going to be that. It's going to be, you were telling me this, why? Because that little nigga, I'll eat that nigga. And at some point, a person like Game, he's not going to be able to control that. I told you, Game is on his last leg with this business. I don't think Game got more albums in him, especially albums that don't do the numbers that he wants. You can't keep telling everybody, I hold the West Coast down, da-da-da. Then you do all these tapes, you get all these features, and the albums still just do okay. They do mediocre and this, that, and the third. And you're like, I'm the king of the West Coast. And then it don't show outside of your own fan base, and which ain't but so big in the first place. So he looking at it like, yo, Doc gets all this love. Every time he comes out, he gets more sales than the last time. He gets bigger tours than the last time. I'm doing the same and goddamn thing, if not better. In his mind, I'm holding the West Coast down better than he is. When he was sitting there going to therapy, I still was holding down the West Coast. So Game looking at it like, I don't get the respect I deserve. So I'm going to let y'all know how I feel this time around. And if y'all going to take it how you want, I'm gonna slide it in slow, right? I'm going to slide it in slow. And y'all niggas are going, if y'all take it the wrong way, then it's going to go even worse, right? So I think that he's getting close to crashing out, but it's no reason to. And it's a lot of things that's going to happen on the West Coast before they ever get to the mic. That's the only problem with this. It's going to be divisive in the community that they in, because there's going to be a lot of people siding on this, siding on that, or don't have a choice because they got to side this way or that way when this thing goes left. Now, I'm going to go on the limb and say Dot not going to respond. For one, he's going to stay quiet. For one, and for two, he knows the consequences. If he steps into this with somebody from the same city that is this reckless, he knows that if I step into this could go left. So Dot is way too responsible. Yeah, to be entertaining to you. You live in fucking Colorado somewhere. You live in Cleveland. It ain't got shit to do with you in the real world, but they gonna have real world consequences if these two guys start going back and forth and then it starts spilling into the streets. So Dot has way more than one reason to not engage. Now, at the end of the day, this is what it is. People ignore the game. Game has been ignored since I can remember. I don't remember really too many people in the last, like, I don't know, 15, 16 years. He tried to bait Rick Ross. Rick Ross didn't bite. Like, people know at this point, just leave Game alone. Because if you just ignore him long enough, he fizzles out. He forget that he was mad. He forget that y'all was talking. He'll see you in the club, shake your hand, take a picture with it. He'll forget what the whole thing was about. Right? But end of the day, let's just be honest. If you keep poking the bear, I don't think he's poking him like that. But I think K-Dot really at some point, as a gladiator, he will have to speak. Not saying I'm saying it. I'm saying he's saying it. Right? Because at the end of the day, you can only ignore somebody for so long. Especially when you know y'all been at odds, he been acting funny for a while. And he's starting to get a little too big for his britches. And he coming for, let's be honest, he coming for the throne. He trying to say, listen, this little nigga don't deserve it. If you really feeling between the lines, he nice, but can't nobody out-rap me on the West Coast. Nobody. And I'm going to prove it now. So he waiting for him to step into that bed trap so he can eat him up. But it ain't going to be that simple. I don't think Game got nothing for this little nigga. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think when it come, he don't match the wits. He don't have the skill set. Game is a very good rapper, but it's certain things he's not going to be able to say. And there's certain things he's not going to be able to articulate. So I don't think that's a battle he really wants, because this guy gonna have too many people feeding him way too much shit. Even the shit that we already know is enough to just, you can just, like, I'm just gonna be honest, like, two good verses, it's not really gonna be, it's too many things on Game already that's open air, let alone what people having, the stuff that, the secrets that they got in the streets. It's some stuff just so blatantly one-sided, in my opinion, that it wouldn't even be a good battle. Right? It just wouldn't even really be a good battle, because Game will come with all this harsh and dramatic, and then once this guy, K-Dot, really focus on him and just start dissecting him from him being a child all the way to right now a grown-ass man that's insecure and still fighting for relevancy, it's not going to be funny. Right? It's just going to be, it's going to be Euphoria all over again. It's going to be, what's the other one? Meet the Grand. It's just going to be bad. So it won't really behoove him. And what he gonna do? He gonna try to do a Meet the Grams before, you know what I'm saying? It's just gonna be silly. You're gonna be like, really? He gonna try to do a Meet the Grams before K-Dot do it. He gonna try to imitate it. It's just gonna be a goofy battle. So nobody wants to see it. Right? Nobody wants to see it. So at this point, I would rather K-Dot just leave it alone, move forward, and we all just have a nice day. Let Game have his moment and just relish in his own iniquity and irrelevancy. And that's all I want to say about that, man. Let me know what you think. I don't think we have any more questions about if Game is coming at him. He's clearly coming at him saying, I said what I said. Like, I don't know how we could still be having this conversation. Did he really diss him? Yes, he did diss him. He clearly dissed him, and he's standing on it. He hasn't said anything contrite. Hasn't said anything to say, you know what, I didn't say, it's not about dot. At least before, he tried to tell Jay-Z that he was talking about Ja Rule when he dissed Jay-Z. This time, he's not even saying I'm talking about somebody else. He's like, y'all reaching, and then goes on to prove what we were saying was true. Get in the comments, man. Let me know what you think. CLBMG. Head on over to black-yeti.com. Let them know who sent you. Also, every Wednesday night, we go live on The What Show. Me, TJ, and Fliz. Tap in. All 8 of my social media platforms. Also, we got a project called The What Project. It's on all streaming services. It's a video called This That right here on my channel. Scroll back a few videos. Check that video out. Go in the comments. Let me know what you think, all right? Share it. All right, I'm out of here, man. I'm going to catch you on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.
Get my coat, get my sheepskin, grab my wallet, get my pocket knife, and get that hat right there. We out. Grab my pocket knife too. Let's go. When I first came to the city, niggas didn't believe me. I just wanted to join a team and throw assist pass easily. 6 man off the bench, alley-oop pass freely. Suit up for one game and hope a scout might see me. But nah, niggas is greedy, wasn't rocking with him. Unplugged the scoreboard, put a lock on the gym. Told me to power forward, point guard at the rim. And left me with no center and a ball full of phlegm. Not knowing that I'm a dog, a Rottweiler within, with the heart of a pit bull that don't bark for pretend. My bites cut deep, break the bone and the skin, with the level of hustlenomics you do not comprehend. So first I took a block down on the west side end, and then secured a spot with some goons and some kin, and then sent out some flyers, let the games begin. And in 6 months time, the city like that's him. Oh yeah, he the one that moved the hustle to the burbs. And yeah, he the one that knocked the hustlers off the curb. And yeah, he the one that set up shop without a word. And he the one that got it cracking, and all he did was rapping by the Hooters. I kept killers from being shooters. Put a mic in a thug's hand, now he loyal like Pats fans. Take a man off the streets past the needles and crack cans. Promise mama to keep him safe, then put some food in his face, and he'll kill for you. But I don't need him for that. Click like, click share, tell them bitches we back. Share the whole location, tell them niggas where we at. Cause we out here and we ain't the cheese, we the trap.